Jake Ashew here with the DMV.
Has concluded.
The DMVSTREAM.COM player.
Sean Parker along with Nick Iverson.
I always wanted to play volleyball in college.
Cordova trying to dig it out of the board. And they score! Welcome to the Fairfax Funhouse, otherwise known as the studios of DMVSTREAM.COM and the Prepzone. I'm Sean Parker, I'm your host, along with Adam Ayalu and Jacob Bogage. Gentlemen, we got some exciting high school highlights to talk about, don't we?
Yeah, we sure do.
All right, we've got a lot going on today for today's broadcast. We're going to start by telling you what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be recapping Potomac and Albemarle, Murray and Sidwell Friends. We will also be going over Paul VI and Gonzaga, Paul VI and St. John's on the girls' side, and we will be previewing both the 5A and 6A Virginia State Tournament. As always, you can find the Prep Zone on Facebook Live, on DMVSTREAM.COM, and on Fairfax Public Access Channel 10. We are going to step away for just a brief break. We're going to tell you how you can get your plays featured on All Met Sports Weekly, right here on the Prep Zone on DMVSTREAM.COM.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to an all-new season of Top Plays here at allmetsports.com and WashingtonPost.com. I'm BJ Kubarulis. All right, like the previous 3 seasons, we're continuing our exciting interactive high school basketball show, a show that allows you, parents, coaches, players, and fans, to send in your video submissions for ranking in our Top 10 style weekly show. Each week, we'll reveal the latest highlights, dunks, sweet assists, and bizarre happenings from across the region. All you gotta do is tweet me the link. I'm at BJ Koob, and remember, you gotta hashtag it AllMets. You can send in your Huddle, YouTube, Vimeo, really any video link, and we'll consider it for use in the upcoming episode of Top Plays. Remember to tune in every Monday to see if your video made it at allmetsports.com. We'll see you soon.
Sean Parker, Adam Ayalu, Jacob Bogage. We are coming back to you on DMVSTREAM.COM's The Prep Zone, and we are going to start with our most famous segment, the Weekly Rewind. And we've got 4 games that we are recapping. First, we are going to start off, Jacob, Gonzaga and PVI for the WCAC Championship. Gonzaga pulling out the 68-55 win. How did they do it?
It doesn't really get any better than a matchup like this, Sean. Gonzaga, PVI, they'd seen each other twice before, had split those matchups. This was really the last dragon to slay for both of these teams. Gonzaga really struggled with PVI speed the first time they played in Fairfax. The second time, Gonzaga was able to make some adjustments on defense, take control of the pace of this game, clean up the boards. And that's exactly what they did at American University Monday night to win that WCAC title.
And with Gonzaga, I had the privilege to see Gonzaga play DeMatha earlier this year, and it was the first time that I had seen Chris Likes. And I just said, wow, he is amazing.
Well, we just saw that shot there, that little scoop from Chris Likes, and then Mike Myers to Miles Dredd there. He's such a dynamic player. I mean, he's like an Italian sports car out there on the court. His court vision's fantastic. He is stronger than you think he is, and he wants your down. You know, I mean, this kid is 5'8" in the right pair of shoes, and he doesn't care. You know, he's gonna. I had a big feature on Chris the other week, and Eddie Scott, the starting power forward for Gonzaga, said he didn't care about his body. He'll go with the biggest guy on the court. Tyree Randolph, Gonzaga's starting running back, leading rusher in school history, is good friends with Chris Likes, leading scorer in school history on the basketball team. And these two want your doubt. They want to take it at you and prove you wrong.
And I mean, you know, Chris Likes, like you said, he's 5'8", I mean, $160 on a good day, and can jump out of the gym. Yeah. I mean, he's 2 inches taller than me. I can't even get close to the rim.
Well, be careful what you wish for, because in opening warm-ups, that was right in front of the PVI student section, and the 6 man's chanting, "Chris can't dunk." Yeah, he can. And be careful what you wish for. He didn't throw one down in the game, but he's an incredible athlete. He's more athletic than you think he is. He can shoot it from distance. He can get to the paint. And what PVI wanted to do was force the ball out of his hands. If he's going to bring the ball up the floor, they're going to trap him. They're going to try to make him navigate around that defense. And it didn't work. I mean, he's so strong with the ball. He's so precise with the ball. And Gonzaga's great at giving him receivers. He can give it up, get it right back, and they can run their offense.
And like the Washington Post said, he is the most dynamic playmaker in the DMV, and he led them to the WCAC championship with a 68-55 win over Paul VI. Next, we go out to Virginia, to the girls. Adam, Potomac, and Albemarle. Potomac with the 71-60 win, and they repeat as region champions.
Yeah, Potomac boys actually repeated as 5A North regional champions, and they head back to the state tournament. They beat Albemarle 71-60, excuse me, in a rematch of last season's 5A state semifinal. And Nana Opoku was brilliant in this game. He had almost a triple-double. That stat there is a little bit incorrect. I believe he had 12 rebounds to go along with 23 points and 6 blocks. Opoku's going to Mount St. Mary's next year. He's a very versatile player. He gets it done on both ends of the floor. As you can see, he scores in high-volume numbers, and he's a really, really good shot blocker. He's quick enough to guard on the perimeter, so they give him, the liberty to hedge a lot of the screens really hard, and that makes things really difficult defensively. And they really clamped down in the second half. Albemarle actually took it to them really good in the first quarter of this game. They had, I think, an 18-6 lead at one point. And Potomac was trailing 40-33 at halftime. They actually didn't even take their first lead of the game until 5:46 left in the fourth quarter, when Eli Camp, their senior point guard, who had 16 points and 5 assists, he converted an and one to give them the first lead of the game, and they didn't really look back at that point. Another standout for Potomac in this game was Jamal Washington. He just committed to Millersville University today, by the way, which is a D2 program, so congratulations to Jamal on that. And he scored 18 points in this game, so it was another big game for him. And Potomac, they go back to states, and they get a #1 seed, and they repeat as regional champs, so business as usual for them guys.
Well, hats off to Potomac, 71-60 over Albemarle. We are going to step away for a brief break. We're going to bring you the play of the week and the athlete of the week, and we'll come back with our final 2 game reports, Paul VI and St. John's, and Murray and Sidwell Friends. Come back right here on the Prep Zone.
Are you top 40? Are you one of the top 40 underclass basketball players in Northern Virginia, Fairfax, Prince William, Loudoun, Arlington, and Alexandria? Are you top 40? In conjunction with Evolution Basketball, we'll be selecting the top 40 boys and top 40 girls underclass basketball players for an invite-only exclusive training camp during this year's DMVSTREAM.COM Nova Challenge on April 10th at Marshall High School. With over 160 college basketball players developed, Evolution Basketball has the experience and knowledge to help players succeed at the high school level and move on to the college ranks. Now, trainers from Evolution will be working with this elite group of basketball players and providing hands-on coaching in a 3-hour training session that will be attended by college coaches, recruiting services, scouting services, and broadcast by DMVSTREAM.com. Here's Evolution Basketball's Alex Harris.
I think that's such a huge benefit for the kids, because one of the big reasons why this camp is so successful is to bring players in to see what the other players are in the area who are really the high-level kids that they're going to be competing with. And the idea of having the camp before the All-Star game, what it does is it creates that excitement. You know, a kid that gets to play in the camp this year is probably going to get the opportunity to compete in the All-Star game next year.
Now, in order to be considered for the top 40, you must fill out the form right below this video. The DMVSTREAM.COM Nova Challenge Board of Directors will then be selecting this elite group and releasing the true top 40 during a live selection show at DMVSTREAM.COM in late March. So, ask yourself, are you top 40?
Welcome back to the Prep Zone here on DMVStream.com. Sean Parker, Adam Ayalu, and Jacob Bogage. And now we go to part 2 of the Weekly Rewind. And we start off with Paul VI and St. John's. Jacob, it was the Asia Shepherd show.
This was the game that everybody, when you go to a WCAC final, you expect a game like this. Gonzaga for the boys was able to really control that game tempo-wise, wire to wire. This was back and forth. Paul VI looked really, really dominant in this game, and they did it the traditional way. When you play St. John's, you take Asia Shepherd out of the game. She had 24 points, I think 19 in the second half, and hit a couple of big threes. There's one that you see cuts the lead to 2 there, and then on the break, pull up, bang, another for Asia Shepherd. She can flat out play. Headed to Virginia Tech next year. The large story behind this game is there are 2 tiers in WCAC, and everybody knows it, and nobody likes to talk about it. There's the St. John's and the Paul VI, and then there's the Elizabeth Seton, the Good Counsel, Ireton this year, McNamara most years, in that second tier. And you're wondering who can kind of climb up and scratch up. St. John's was able to put their stamp on the conference with a game like this. Finished it out strong, did what they needed to do, rebounded the basketball. Jalen Carradine was fantastic in this game. Paul VI loves those 2 bigs, Mimi Collins and Michaela Vaughn, the conference player of the year. Carradine beat him up, and they used her on both. Malou Mutombo as well, on both of those players. Asia Shepherd scoring touch. Just a masterful job by Jonathan Scribner this year of finding whatever matchups he needed in big games. They won against PVI on Military Road. They played a close game in Fairfax, and they get the win for the conference title.
And I tell you, it's interesting that when you mentioned Carradine, I actually watched them play Good Counsel earlier this year, and I mean, she was a spark in that game.
She's fantastic. She's so athletic.
They struggled with Good Counsel most of that game, and Carradine started scoring, and it really gave them the lift to spur them on to victory.
Adam, they present so many matchup problems, don't they, St. John's? With the way Carradine can play inside out, Mutombo and Asia Shepherd.
Yeah, it's a really interesting matchup that they provide, with the inside-out mix. And this game was really interesting to me because I think PVI was the #1 ranked team in the country, but St. John's was the #1 ranked team in the league. So, really good league, and congrats to St. John's on a great win.
Both of these tournaments, by the way, the 1 and 2 seeds are decided by coin flips. And PVI loses the girls coin flip and wins the boys coin flip. Doesn't matter either way. And couldn't get any luck in the finals.
And just as an aside to everybody out there in the DMV, if you have not gone out and checked out some of the girls' action, we all know that this is one of the best hotbeds in the country for boys basketball, but there are some really talented girls teams in the area as well. So make sure you go out and you check them out as well.
Well, how many WNBA players did we see on the floor in that game? I mean, I would be shocked if honestly Scott Grayson is not a WNBA player someday. Asia Shepherd very well could be as well. Mimi Collins of PVI is going to go play at Tennessee. Michaela Vaughn is going to go play at Notre Dame. She is, boys or girls, the best big I have seen all year.
Yeah. Can't forget Ashley Owusu.
Can't forget Ashley Owusu, a young one.
She's a beast, man.
She's a beast. There's just with those two, and then Lindsay Pulliam. I mean, we're still in the WCAC here. Lindsay Pulliam, Jakia Brown-Turner. I'm struggling to pull more names out, but there's so much talent in this conference alone, let alone the entire region. Octavia Wilson.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, out of Eleanor Roosevelt, there's so much talent in this area.
We could go on and do a Prep Zone girls basketball edition, but we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about Murray and Sidwell friends. Sidwell with the 10-point win.
Oh yeah, and they shot the lights out, especially in the first quarter where Sadiq Bey and Jason Gibson combined for 6 made threes, 3 apiece, and Sadiq was the leading scorer in the game. Murray, they got 2 really good big men in Luca Garza, who's going to Iowa next year, and E.J. Jarvis, who's a young up-and-coming big man. He's a sophomore. And they made their presence felt early. Luca had 2 early blocks. So Murray stopped testing them, so Sidwell stopped testing them inside, and that's when they started taking the game out to the perimeter where, as we said, they were on fire. Sadiq Bey and Jason Gibson combined for 49 of Sidwell's 67 points.
Jason Gibson can shoot the ball.
Yes, Jason Gibson is not just a shooter, but he's also a really good playmaker. He had 5 assists as well in this game. Yeah, it's really big. And their point guard, Abbas Salah, who's going to Swarthmore next year, Division III school, really good academic school. He had 7 assists in this game as well. So Sidwell was sharing the ball. They were humming on offense. And defensively, they locked up in this game. Luka Garza, who's averaging, close to 25 points a game this year, was held to 15, and he didn't score at all in the fourth quarter. So credit to Sidwell Friends, and congratulations to them on winning the MAC championship. Most people thought that their season was over when Jelani Williams went down with a torn ACL. Jelani is a UPenn commit, and he's basically the leader of that team. And for him to go down and for that team to respond like that, and they had lost their most recent game to Murray as well, for them to rebound from that game to end up as the MAC champions, that's a great story in my opinion.
Hats off to the Quakers, 67-57 over Murray. We're going to take a commercial break here, and when we come back, we are going to preview 3 terrific games and a state tournament as well. So stick with us. We're going to come back right after this on the Prep Zone.
DMVSTREAM.COM is excited to welcome the Mid-Atlantic Sports Foundation to our live streaming sports network, a partnership that will put the DMV's best athletes on display to a global audience. The new partnership combines the area's most notable all-star and showcase events put on by the Mid-Atlantic Sports Foundation. That includes the Crab Bowl, the Capital Bowl, and the Crab Ball Classic. The Crab Bowl is an all-star football game going into its 10th year and has repeatedly produced some of the area's most recognizable college and NFL stars, players like Kendall Fuller, Jelani Jenkins, and Tavon Austin. The Capital Bowl is in its first year and will pit Northern Virginia's finest football players against DC's finest in a game played at Georgetown University. The Crab Ball Classic, that's a basketball showcase that puts DC's finest against Baltimore's best, a game that has always featured the region's best ballers. In our new partnership with the Mid-Atlantic Sports Foundation, we'll give fans a way to watch the game streaming live, right here at DMVSTREAM.com. The event will provide you, the viewers and fans, the exceptional, state-of-the-art coverage you've come to expect from our sports broadcast group. As the Mid-Atlantic's #1 source for live sports broadcasting, DMVSTREAM.com is going to broadcast these events free of charge to computers, tablets, mobile devices, and also make the replays available on demand. Broadcasts, they'll feature multiple HD camera angles, instant replay, graphics, live scoring, and stats, as well as professional crew, including play-by-play voices, analysts, sideline reporters, and much more. Find out more about this new partnership and the Mid-Atlantic Sports Foundation at DMVSTREAM.com.
Welcome back to the Prep Zone. It's time for our weekly Fast Forward, where we take a look at some previews of some upcoming games, and we are going to start with West Potomac and Western Branch. Jacob.
It's a story of 2 guards. That's the way it is for West Potomac. Darryl Mackey Jr. averaging 19.2 points a game. Khalil Williams-Diggins, who I think was second-team All-Met last year, 15.1 points a game. When West Potomac struggles is when you can get these 2 guards on an island. They play off each other so well. It's a second drive offense. So if Mackey goes to the bucket first and gets stopped, all of a sudden there's a pivot, turnaround, and a ball's right to Diggins for a jumper or a second drive. Or you see 33, Adarsit Ekbuck in there, another guy who can bring bursts of athleticism and offense along with the Belfield twins, DeJuan and Dejan, both guys who are just tremendously athletic. But that's what West Potomac does. They're going to surround these 2 all-state guards with a bunch of athletes and say, try and beat us, try to out-rebound us, try to defend us, try to guard us in space, try to run the floor with us. And Madison was able to do it in the 6A North Regional Tournament. By slowing things down, they went to a 1-3-1 that really harassed these guys on the perimeter, that split them on either side of the floor, and they said, go at us on your own. We're not going to let the two of you play off each other. And it'll be interesting to see the approach Western Branch takes to dealing with all that athleticism. It's a lot to handle.
All right, well, we will see whether or not West Potomac can punch through. Next game preview that we've got, we are going to take a look at 2 Virginia State tournaments, and we're going to start with the 6A State Tournament.
Yeah.
Who's going to win it? Crystal ball.
Oh man, that's too early for that prediction, I think. But if I had to look at the bracket, it looks like one side of the bracket is a bit lopsided, in my opinion. You got the regional champs Madison facing Hilton, who's a very good team, which we'll talk about that a little bit later. And we just talked about West Potomac, who's a district champion, going up against Western Branch, who's a very good team from Chesapeake area with 2 really good guards in Brequan Harrell and Kendall Bynum. And then the other side of the bracket, you've got Herndon against Lansdowne, and then W.T. Woodson against Franklin County. If I had to pick, I would take Woodson to come out of that side of the bracket. But your guess is as good as mine. When it comes to the other side of the bracket, that bracket looks like a gauntlet to me. You got any predictions?
I thought I was going to be the bold one taking W.T. Woodson. I really like W.T. Woodson.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've seen a better shooter this year than Jason Agner.
Yeah.
He just gets himself in rhythm. People don't realize this. You catch the ball off the screen and go one dribble and put it up. That's a really tough shot.
Yes.
And that's why you see a lot of guys don't take it.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to take that shot. He's not afraid of the moment. I really like W.T. Woodson if Simon Mullah plays his game.
Yeah.
That team is going to go as Simon Mullah goes. He's a 3-year starter at point guard. The reason they lost to Madison is because Madison went to that 1-3-1. Madison's only used this 1-3-1 in the last 2 weeks because it looked awful for the first 2.5 months of the season. And they decided, you know what, we got to try something. And all of a sudden, they've won 13 to 14 games. I love that 1-3-1 look. I think if Woodson's guards can get their head on straight, that side of the bracket looks comfortable. And they were they took a game from West Potomac this year.
Yep.
They played Madison really close. I think that's the beauty of the Virginia playoff system. No matter how many times I lament it, you can lose twice.
Yeah.
In the backstretch of these playoffs and come out a winner in the state tournament.
Really
I think Woodson could take advantage of it.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move over to the 5A state tournament, and let's see, do we have a prediction for that one, or are we still looking at some bracketology that needs to take place?
Yeah, in my opinion, when you look at the 5A bracket, it's a little bit lopsided as well, believe it or not. You got Potomac, the defending state champions, going up against Hampton, a team from Hampton, Virginia, with 3 Division I commits. You've got Jalen Ray, who's going to Hofstra University. You've got Marquise Godwin, who's going to Old Dominion University, and you've got Mustadi Pitt, who's going to Norfolk State University. So that's going to be a tough test for them, considering that Potomac is primarily, not focused around Nana Opoku, and Hampton does have guys who will try to neutralize Nana in the paint. So that'll be an interesting matchup for them. And then you've got Wakefield in the same side of that bracket, going up against Bethel, another team from the Hampton region with a Division I level player in Cam Baycoat, one of the best players in Virginia and one of the best guards in Virginia, going up against Alan Treacle, who's probably one of the best point guards in the area. Treacle had 31 in his last game against Potomac Falls in the 3rd place game for regionals. So that side of the bracket looks stacked. When you look at the other side, go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask you, how much of this do you think comes down to if a big can be dominant? We mentioned Nana, you mentioned Potomac Falls, who was a big.
Yeah. How
much of this is going to come down to what big can chip away at these teams through 3 rounds?
I think it's always important to have at least one big man on the floor. You see big men get in foul trouble, in certain games, and it'll change the whole, complexion of the whole game. So for guys like Nana and other, significant big men to stay in the game, I think is very important, especially in the playoffs.
Because Wakefield is going to go 8 deep.
Yeah.
Like they're like 8 swingmen.
Yeah, they're versatile, man. They can get up and down. They love to get up and down, but they've got this guy, Amari Cooper, who does everything. He jumps out of the gym. He can shoot the ball. He can handle the ball. He can guard 1 through 5, and they're going to be tough to beat. But I think that side of the bracket with Potomac and Wakefield, whoever wins that bracket is going to probably be the state champion.
And you can catch the rest of this preview on Adam and Jacob's podcast. Because we could talk basketball all night. But we've got one more game preview to go through, and that preview is Madison and Hilton. You mentioned Madison a little bit earlier. So what are we looking at in that game?
Madison has been great at, and I feel like I'm beating a drum here, dictating tempo. Hilton is let's not fool anybody, they have better athletes on the floor than Madison does, right? Madison has Johnny Corish, who is, number 21. He's like the one basketball player. And then it's a bunch of like all-conference football players. John Finney, Sam Kidd, Nick Conforti was like a star wide receiver. If Madison can take that athleticism, you see the steal there, and find a way to apply it, they're gutsy. They don't know that they're not supposed to be here. I think they lost like 4 of their first 7 to open the year, and then all of a sudden they've been ripping off all these wins. They look confident. They look relaxed. And these tournaments are about who is hot at the right time. And Madison has not had to back into this tournament. Hilton has. That's why they're a 4 seed. So I like Madison in this game, but I just like Madison overall. I think they just got spunk to them.
Yeah, and you talked about big guys. Hilton has a really good one in DJ Hill. He's very versatile. Another really athletic guy who can do multiple things on both ends of the floor. And I think Madison's going to have to contain him if they want to advance to the next round. So it'll be a good matchup, and looking forward to it.
So see, folks, there's a lot of great basketball coming up. We talked about Virginia. We haven't talked about DCSAA. We haven't talked about the MPSSAA. So before you get to the NCAA March Madness, it's too many letters. It's too many letters. Before you get to that March Madness, make sure you check out some of the great high school basketball action here in the DMV. That is it for the Prep Zone. For Adam Alayu and Jacob Bogage, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Always
I'm
fun.
Sean Parker. Prep Zone is now closed.